Step into the vibe, oh yeah. Feel the rhythm rise high, we're living life. Let's fly, off tap life. Sky's the limit, no shy. Ooh, off tap life.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction request. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing, join the family. Absolutely love to have you. All right, guys, this one is from Monroe. What's up, Monroe? Hope you've had a fantastic week. And Monroe wants to hear he had a deplorable set of skills. Top 3 celebrity secrets. I have no idea what this is, so we're just going to dive in and we'll find out together. Without further ado, for me, Monroe, and all of you, let's get off tap.
Today, I'm going to share 3 little-known, ridiculous backstories of 3 very famous people. And the last one has a very satisfying ending. But before we get into today's stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload 2 or 3 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please replace the like button's Shroot Bucks with Stanley Nichols. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories. In 1971, a 19-year-old Irishman named William began studying physics and computer science at a university in Belfast, Northern Ireland. While he was certainly smart enough to complete the 4-year degree, after 1 year of being in the school, he decided to drop out because he felt like this was not the path he wanted to be on. So he moved back home to a town about 30 minutes north of Belfast, where he got a job as a forklift driver and truck driver for the Guinness Beer Factory. And while he loved this job...
Who is it? Why were they making us wait to find out who it is? Is that a secret too? I want to know already.
He still felt like this was not the path for him. He needed to do something more with his life. And so he decided he would pursue what 2 of his siblings had gone on to do, which was to become a school teacher. He had always admired his school teachers growing up, and he idolized his 2 siblings that had become teachers, and so it felt like the right fit. And so William applied to a 4-year teaching college in Newcastle in England, and after he was accepted, he flew to England, he got set up, and then he began his studies. The first year was great.
All right, let's try to figure out who this is. Let's make a guess. Someone with the name William. Who's famous celebrity with the name William? William Shakespeare? They can't be told William Shakespeare. William Shatner from Star Trek? Is there any other Williams? There's Will.I.am. I mean, does that count? I don't know. Let me know if you guys... Take a guess and put it in the comments. I have no idea.
Great. He loved what he was doing. He did feel like this is the right fit, and he was getting good grades. Everything was going exactly to plan. But then year 2 happened and everything went off the rails. A requirement to graduate from this 4-year teaching college was all the aspiring teachers starting in their 2nd year had to go teach real students real lessons. They basically had to go to high schools and elementary schools and fill in for the real teacher and give a real lesson. And they were scored on their ability to do that. But all the aspiring teachers knew that when you gave these real lessons to real students, what really ended up happening was the students did not take the aspiring teachers seriously. They viewed them as kind of like substitute teachers, and so they didn't respect.
Oh crap, this guy's got 10.8 million subscribers. I've never even heard of this guy, Mr. Ballin. You definitely must be ballin'. He's freaking smashing it. Wow, good for him. Good for him. He can just sit there and just do this and get 10.8 million subscribers doing story times. I like that. I've got a story time channel too. I've done maybe 1 or 2 stories on it. If you know, you know. Just saying. Not attempting to, you know, mine don't have 10.8 million subscribers. I think I've got 10 or 8 subscribers.
respect them, and they didn't listen to them. And so typically, these real teaching sessions just turned into the aspiring teachers desperately trying to calm down their pupils long enough to get them to listen to their lesson plan for just 1 second. But normally it didn't work out, and before long the day was over and nothing was really accomplished. So in William's second year, when it was his turn to go over to a high school and administer his lesson plan, he went over there knowing what he was up against. He did not really expect it to go well, but he decided he would go in there with a positive attitude and he would try to do his best. But as soon as he walked into his classroom, he immediately could tell he was going to be overwhelmed. Everybody's standing up and talking amongst themselves, and they turn around and they see William walking in, and they have this moment of realization that their real teacher is not going to.
I don't know if he's doing this right. Like, I need to know the celebrity. Did he say it and I missed it? I mean, who is William? Because I feel like I'd be more excited with knowing the story of who you're talking about. Like, I feel like this could just be make-believe right at this point. There might not even be a William, guys. I hate to tell you. But maybe there's no William. Maybe he's just making this all up and we've all bought into it. I don't know. He's got lots of subscribers, so I guess, he's good at, telling these stories, whether they're true or false. I guess we find out at the end. The anticipation, though, just tell me who's the freaking William. I can't even think of another William. That's the only ones I can think of, that like a celebrity. I really can't.
Be teaching them that day. It's going to be this
William Dafoe. Isn't his name Dafoe? Was his name William Dafoe? The guy who was in Spider-Man. Was he in Spider-Man or? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in Spider-Man. The guy I'm thinking. William Dafoe, maybe? I don't know.
Substitute, William, and they all kind of gleefully began laughing and joking, and they just turned their backs on
the Green Goblin dude.
William and kept talking amongst themselves. And so William goes inside, he puts his stuff on the desk, and he attempts to get the class to listen to him by saying, "Hey everyone, come on, sit down, time to listen up, I'm your new teacher for the day." But the kids just were not listening. And so finally, William, who was a really big guy, he was 6'4", he was in great shape, he kind of postured himself and then yelled at the class, "Sit down right now." And at this, the class did turn around and looked at William and kind of sized him up, and most of them decided, okay, it's time to sit down. And so 99% of the class goes quiet and sits down, except for one kid. It was this 15-year-old boy who was at the back of the room, and he was standing up, defiant, with his arms crossed, staring at William with a smirk on his face. And all around him, all his cronies were sitting down, looking up at him, laughing, and kind of looking up at William and laughing at him, knowing that a confrontation was about to ensue. And so William is staring at this kid, trying to get...
this guy would be good for, like, if he had kids. And, before they go to sleep and everyone wants, like, a little bedtime story, like, this guy would be great at that. Like, some kid out there right now is just, "Daddy, tell me a story." And he's, doing his little... There's William, he's doing his thing. Big guy, 6'4", telling his stories. Like, this is great. He's really good at it. He's really good at it. He should maybe start a YouTube. Oh, he did already.
Get him to just sit without saying anything, and this kid is just mean mugging him with his arms crossed, and nothing's happening. And so William walks right up to him and kind of leans over his shoulder and says, "You need to go out in the hallway right now. I will meet you out there." And then William turned around and started walking back towards the front of the room, expecting this to have worked, that this 15-year-old kid would have just followed right along and he'd walk right out to the hallway and that would be that. But when he turned back around again, the 15-year-old kid had not moved. He was still standing in the back of the classroom, arms crossed, staring up at William, basically saying, "Make me." And at this, William lost his mind. He was so mad and so frustrated at how unbelievably disrespectful this kid was being, and really the whole class was being to him, that he just kind of lost it. And he ran up to this kid in the back of the room and he gets right up in his face. And remember, William is 6'4". He's a big guy. And he gets right in the kid's face and he's like, "Get out in the hall right now." And this kid doesn't flinch. Instead, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a knife and he holds it right up against William. And William, without any hesitation, just winds up and blasts this kid across.
Holy crap. Okay. Okay. That's plot twist. Wasn't expecting that. This is a celebrity? This is crazy.
The side of the head, sending him flying over a kid sitting at a desk. He goes flying over this kid and crumples into the corner. And then when he stands up, he drops the knife and puts his hands up and he's like, okay, I'll go out in the hall. And William's like, go out in the hall right now. And so the kid ran out of the classroom. He goes out into the hall and the whole class is totally silent. No one even wants to look up at William. They're all kind of just looking down at their desk, trying to be as quiet as possible. And William walks back to the front of the class and proceeds to teach the rest of the lesson. As soon as the high school learned that this aspiring teacher, William, had basically knocked out one of their students, even though it seemed like it might have been a little bit deserved, they immediately told the teacher's college, and the teacher's college immediately expelled William. And so now William is suddenly jobless and he's kind of lost again in the world. He doesn't know what he wants to do now because he...
Well, yeah, look, I mean, that's a tricky one. I mean, kid pulls out a knife. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because, you know, like, he could stab you. You could be in danger. But then he's a kid, you know? I mean, maybe there's a way he could have taken the knife from the kid without, you know, knocking him so hard that he saw Back to the Future in real time. I don't know. It's a tricky one. What would you have done in that situation? Let me know in the comments below.
Really had committed to being a teacher, and so he goes back to his home in Northern Ireland and he begins thinking about, you know, what is he going to do next? And he keeps having this thought that he should pursue this thing that he's always been interested in, but he had never taken seriously because it felt so risky. But now that basically everything in his life had fallen apart, he had nothing to lose. So he decided, what the heck, I will do the thing that I've always wanted to do. And that was stage acting. And so he went and auditioned with a local theater company in Belfast. He was accepted into the theater troupe. And then 4 years later, he was discovered performing on stage by a Hollywood filmmaker. And they cast him in a movie. And the rest, as they say, is history. William Neeson, better known as Liam Neeson, would go on to star in...
Freaking hell, man. If you would have started with that, I would have been so much more into the story. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a very interesting story, and I enjoyed it, and it paid off at the end. Like, now I'm like, okay, that was good. But I mean, if you would have started saying, okay, guys, number one, Liam freaking Nelson, or Neeson, whatever, however you say his name, no disrespect intended, but if you would have started that, I would have, oh, cool, I love this guy, he's an action star. I would have been freaking just more, you know, patient. I would have given more. I would have been like, okay, yeah, good, take your time telling the story. But I just wanted to hurry and find out who William was the whole time because he didn't tell me. So I wanted to rush through the story. This is the part, if I wasn't doing a reaction video, I would have fast forwarded to the end to find out who it is. Like, dude, don't make me wait 20 minutes. Tell me who it is first and let me decide if I want to actually continue listening. This guy's awesome. You guys like this guy? Super cool actor, dude. Yo, see, he tricked us too, because he doesn't use the name William like on none of his, you know, promo stuff. You know, he's tricked us. Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay, he's trying to play a mystery game, a whodunit kind of thing, keeping us in the dark, using just code names. You know, that's why he keeps doing this code name. Right? You see that? That was him giving us the little code. And then you gotta, you know, go through it and figure it out. And you don't, because no one would ever guess that, because, like, seriously, again, he doesn't use that name. And then come find out it's this dude. The dude who just kicks butt in the freaking tons of action movies that we all love this guy. He's freaking awesome. All right, bravo. Well done, Mr. Ballin. I think you found your calling. All right, let's go.
Dozens of huge movies and TV shows, and he's probably best known for his epic role in the movie Taken, where he is this CIA operative with a particular set of skills, and in this movie, he punches a lot of people in the face, just like when he was a teacher.
Okay, bravo. Well played. Took a while to get there. We got there at the end. All right, so now it's the cowboy one. Now we got to wait around and figure out who the cowboy is. I'm saying Clint Eastwood right off the back, I'm guessing, because I just don't know a lot of famous actors who kind of played a cowboy. Oh, I guess he played a cowboy. He wasn't really a cowboy, was he?
In 1963, when Tim Dick was just 10 years old, he went over to his friend's house and he snuck a bottle of whiskey from one of their shelves. He pulled it out and he poured himself a full glass to the brim with whiskey, and then he downed it in one huge gulp. Tim had grown up idolizing cowboys on TV, and every time he watched them, they would come galloping into some town, they would go into the saloon, and they would sit at the bar just throwing back shots of whiskey. And so Tim always assumed whiskey must be this totally amazing, refreshing drink for these guys to be drinking it out in the heat of the desert. But unfortunately for Tim, after he slugged this huge glass of whiskey, it was not refreshing. It tasted like gasoline, and his chest felt like it was on fire. But instead of being turned off by alcohol and waiting until he was older and of age to try it again, Tim instead thought, you know what, the next time I have whiskey, I just need to water it down a little bit. And so for the next year, Tim continued to periodically sneak whiskey out of his friends' cabinets, and he would drink this watered down whiskey. And then when he turned 11 years old, his father, who he was very close with, died tragically in a car accident. And Tim really didn't have a good way to cope with the grief of losing his father, and so he turned to drinking even more than he already was. And before long, Tim was like this young kid who basically was an alcoholic.
That's crazy. Wow. Okay, Tim Allen. What other Tim is there? Got nothing. Let me know if you know. Take a guess. Put in the comments below.
But he hit it extremely well. He graduated high school, he graduated college, and really nobody knew he was drinking as much as he was. But after he graduated college and he was living on his own in Michigan, there was no structure in place or person in place to...
It won't be that easy. It won't be someone named Tim. It would be like the nickname, people use Tim, but their real name is like, I don't know what do you call it, Tim? Like, is that that's probably a William too. Who knows?
to stop Tim from going overboard with his substance abuse. And so not only did his drinking get completely out of control, but he began using and selling drugs, namely cocaine. In 1978, when Tim was 25 years old, he and his drug dealing partner were scheduled to take part in the biggest drug deal of
I don't think that's Tim Allen. I just can't see him doing that. He doesn't seem like the type. I mean, you never know, but yeah, nah. We gotta think of someone else.
Their careers. They would be selling about 1.5 pounds of cocaine to a guy named Michael Pfeiffer, and he'd be buying it for $42,000, which when you adjust that for inflation would be like buying it for $175,000 in 2021.
Jeez.
Tim and his partner were very excited about all this money they were going to make, but they were equally worried about the transaction. A lot can go wrong. And so Tim decided, in order to mitigate their nerves and kind of make this a safer drug deal, he decided they would do the transaction.
He really loves doing these. It's like his thing. Look, bunny rabbit.
Action inside of a public airport, because Tim had seen that done on TV and believed that would give them an additional layer of safety. And so on the day this deal is going to take place, Tim takes the 1.5 pounds of cocaine, he puts it inside of a brown Adidas gym bag, and he also throws a key lock inside of this bag. He zips it up, he walks outside, he dumps the bag in the back of his car, and he drives to the Kalamazoo International Airport in Michigan. When he gets there, he parks in the...
Wow, there's a real place called Kalamazoo? I just thought that was just like something people say, like it's not real word, a real place, or you know what I mean? Kalamazoo. Oh wow, there's a real place called Kalamazoo. Did y'all know that? I didn't know that.
Big parking lot right outside of the front doors, and as soon as he's parked, he goes around to the back of his car, he pulls out this brown Adidas bag, he throws it over his shoulder, shuts his trunk, and then he waits for his partner to show up. A couple of minutes later, right on time, his partner pulls into the lot, he parks nearby, and then the two of them very casually begin walking towards the front doors of this airport. They walk up the steps, they go in the front doors, and as soon as they're inside, they're looking around, and they find Michael Pfeiffer. He's standing up against the wall right in the area he had said he would be. And And so without making any sort of contact with Michael, Tim and his partner turn the corner and they go into a nearby locker room. Once they're inside, Tim pulls the lock out of the brown bag and then he puts the bag with the drugs in it inside of a locker. He shuts it and then uses the lock he had just pulled out to lock the locker. And then he and his partner leave the locker room. As soon as they go out into the main terminal, they start walking over towards Michael Pfeiffer. And as they get closer and closer, Tim's partner breaks off and goes to a bench on the other side of the terminal. And Tim continues walking on right up to Michael. And then when he reaches Michael, he very discreetly hands him the key to the lock on the locker. And he tells him which locker number the drugs are in. Michael doesn't say anything. He takes the key and he heads off to the locker room. Tim turns and he goes over to his partner and he sits down on the bench and waits. Meanwhile, Michael goes inside the locker room. He uses the key. He opens up the lock. He opens the locker up. He checks to make sure the drugs are still there. They are. As soon as that's confirmed, he takes the bag, he throws it over his shoulder, and he walks back out to the main terminal to meet up with Tim and his partner. Tim and his partner are sitting on the bench. They see Michael coming out of the locker room, and they're expecting Michael.
That's a bit risky. So what, all this happened and they haven't received money yet? Or did I miss that? Did they give him the money? I'm freaking out, man. Like I'm just, because he's got, I'm just thinking, who the freak is Tim? Now I'm doing the whole who's Tim thing. Like it's gonna be someone like, oh really? Like I know it's gonna be someone really great. It's gonna be awesome, but like he's just making us now. He just, I don't know if I like your style, dude. You're freaking really annoying. You're just making me have to wait, dude. You're doing what, like, you ever been in a relationship and like, you know, you are being teased and you're like, man, I can't wait, it's gonna be great. They keep making you wait. And then eventually you wait so long and it's like, wow, waited so long, it's not even great. Or like Christmas, you were so excited for Christmas and your parents didn't give you any indication as to that present you really, really wanted, if you were going to get it or not. And then so you're just waiting and you're so stressed about it so long that when Christmas finally comes and you actually like, yeah, if it's there, it's there. If not, whatever. Like you're kind of just like, moved on now. I'm on to something new. Very more exciting. There's a new toy in town. All right, let's go.
Michael to walk over and basically hand them a bag full of $42,000. But instead, Michael walks up to them and draws a gun and points it at them and says, I'm a...
Wow. So there you go. They was expecting moolah, instead they get gun.
police officer, you're under arrest.
Oh,
it would
police.
turn out this was a sting operation.
Oh.
Michael Pfeiffer, the undercover police officer, had been following around Tim and his partner for months. In Michigan at the time, if you were caught trying to sell 650 grams or more of cocaine, there was an automatic penalty of a life sentence.
That's not cool. That's entrapment or something.
And Tim and his partner had just been arrested trying to sell more than 650 grams of cocaine. And so facing a life sentence, Tim took a deal that gave him a lesser sentence in exchange for information about other drug dealers. And so Tim would ultimately serve 2 years and 4 months in a federal penitentiary before he was released.
Watch this end up being a rapper or something. Like, is this the game? Eminem, Marshall, is Tim? Oh, Marshall, Tim, Marshall. Oh, no. Excuse me. I think he said 60s or something early on. It can't be him. Or could it? Wait, how old is he? I don't know.
Released. Tim would say his time in prison was absolutely miserable, but it was necessary. It matured him in a major way, and it honed his sense of humor. Tim was always a very funny guy.
Sense of humor. Oh my gosh, it might really be Tim Allen. Oh my gosh. Sense of humor, funny, Tim. All right, guys, let me know. Do you guys think it's Tim Allen? Let me know in the comments.
And the guy goofing around, but in prison...
It's funny, I keep saying let me know in the comments, and I know that you guys won't, but yeah. It's what we say. YouTubers, what we say.
He found it a very difficult task to get these hardened prisoners and prison guards to laugh at his jokes. But eventually, with enough practice and repetition, he could get anybody in that prison to laugh at him. And so by the time he got out, he was like an amazing comedian. And so he decided, you know what, why don't I pursue a career in comedy? 4 years later, Tim Dick, better known as Tim Allen, landed...
Right? Dude, so really, like, what? I didn't think Tim would be the type. It was the only Tim I could think of, though. And it turns out I was right. What? Come on, y'all shoot. There's 1 billion plus people on the planet. Like, it could have been anybody, and I just guessed it. Like, y'all got to give me a subscribe for that. I think I deserve a subscribe and a like and a thumbs up and a comment, and just, yeah, like, you can even join and become a member of the channel for that. Come on, man, that's big brain power thinking. I didn't even like. How many of you guys thought Tim Allen? Let me know in the comments. How many of you guys got it right? Be honest, don't cheat. Let me know in the comments.
Did the starring role on the hit TV show Home Improvement, and from there he starred in dozens more movies and TV shows, but he's probably best known for his voice acting in the very popular movie series Toy Story, where he plays Buzz Lightyear. Today, Tim is sober and has been for decades.
Okay, that's good. That was a good story, and I see how he's reeling you in. He's taking this whole thing where it's like you want to know who it is so bad that you're going to watch the entire video. I get it. It's good. Well played. I think I deserve something for guessing that. Like, I'm just saying. But let's see who number 1 is. There you go.
In 1964, during his final semester of college in Wisconsin, a 21-year-old man named Harry decided to take an acting class.
Harry. Y'all know any Harrys? Gosh, I can't even think of a Harry. That dude from One Direction's name is Harry, I think. Harry Styles. Is that his name? Or Harry somebody? And isn't there Harry One Direction?
He believed it would be an easy A, and he'd always been pretty shy, and so he figured this class might be able to help him get over that. But this class wound up having a much larger impact on Harry's life than he ever could have imagined. Not only did he meet his future wife in this class, but he also realized he loved acting, something he never thought he would like, and he decided after college that that was the thing he was going to pursue. And so after he graduates later...
All right, let's think. I don't think this guy's name is going to be Harry. I think that's like his real name or something, and this guy has probably changed his name. So I'm going to take a guess, and this is just random. I'm just going with like what kind of maybe could be used as, if you're a Harry, what might you change your name to? I'm thinking Harry and George. I don't know why. I know it's crazy, but what if this is George Clooney? That's just my first initial guessing, because I just can't think of a Harry Houdini. What should be Harry Houdini?
Later that year, he and his girlfriend get married, and then they fly out.
Oh, wait, he said 1970 something. Forget it.
Hollywood, California, where Harry auditions for Columbia Pictures' New Talent Program, which is basically this program that's designed to help new actors and actresses get parts in Hollywood, because it's so hard to do that. And so he's accepted into this program. He signs a contract with them that pays him almost nothing. And right away, they start shopping him around for different parts in TV shows and movies, but nobody is interested in Harry. Nobody. The only roles he was getting were incredibly minor and usually non-speaking, and so it was really not advancing his career. Then, in 1966, so 2 years after he and his wife had arrived in Hollywood, Harry received what seemed like his first big break. He was offered a speaking role in a movie. Although it was a very minor role, it was a 60-second bit where Harry basically walked on screen in this hotel, and he started calling out for a particular guest, and when he finds this guest, he walks...
Wait a minute. We need to create some suspense here of our own, because I think, first of all, let's figure out who we think Harry is, because we're going to, thanks to the power of AI, I think we could figure out who Harry is before he reveals who Harry is. Let's think about it. Let's just see if we can come close to figuring out who Harry is, because first of all, we need to know what does Harry, like, what kind of nickname is Harry? Like, if your name is Harry, what's your real name? Is it Harold or something like that? So let's find out. I'm going to ask our friend, you know who. Hey, I got a question today. So listen, I'm watching this video, and it's about top 3 celebrity secrets. And now, I don't want you to tell me if you've already scanned and you know the video. I don't want you to tell me who he's talking about, but I'm attempting to figure it out on my own. So I'm wondering, in 1966, no, I want to know, Harry, what is like Harry a nickname of? Like, if someone's named Harry, what possibly could be an alternate name for them, but Harry is like an abbreviation or nickname? Is that like someone who might be named Harold or something like that? Like, let me know.
Harry for sure can be a nickname for Harold, but it also pops up as a nickname for Henry too.
Henry.
Sometimes people just name their kids Harry, period. But I'm also thinking it could be connected to something like Harrison. Anything about this Harry in the video that gives you a hint about his real name?
So maybe Harrison Ford could be the person, huh? Interesting. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. I think you might be onto something. I'm liking how that feels.
Could be. Harrison Ford could definitely fit the Harry part. Do you have any other clues to see if we can narrow it down even more?
Something about 1966 movie, and no one wanted him to be in any movies. Like, he couldn't get a role, and then he finally got a 60-second part in a movie, but his name apparently something to do with Harry. I don't know. The big reveal isn't there yet. This guy likes to play games and tell this whole story, keep you guessing, and then at the end he goes and says who it is. Now, I got one right earlier. I did guess one of them, so I'm pretty proud of myself. But yeah, this one, I can't think of any, many Harrys. Name off some Harry, people with the name Harry who might have been, like, say, around 20 in 1966. Celebrities. Actors.
You already nailed one, which is great. Harrison Ford could definitely fit that timeline, since he was around 24 in 1966. There's also Harry Dean Stanton, though he would have been a bit older, around 40 then. But he was a character actor who did lots of smaller roles and had a pretty distinctive look. Does that name sound familiar at all from the video?
No, not at all. And I think that it's going to be some big celebrity. I can't imagine it being someone like, none of us have really heard of. So I'm going to go with Harrison Ford. I'm going to lock that in. Thank you for your help. And yeah, I'll chat to you later. Have a good one. Gosh, you're so rude. You just hang up like that now. They don't say, okay, bye, see ya. It says, sounds reasonable to me. Good luck with your guessing game. Chat soon. But it didn't say it. It just a little bit rude. I'm just saying. I remember when they used to always be like, okay, good, catch you later, peace out. And if I say I love you, they say I love you too. You know, like, what's going on? Anyways, second time I just kind of felt like just got hung up on, but okay. Anywho, I'm locking in Harrison Ford. Let me know if you guys, who do you think it is? I'm going with Harrison Ford. I think we figured it out. All right, let's see if we're right.
Walks up and gives him a piece of paper, and then he leaves. So it's a forgettable scene, but it's a real scene in a real movie. And so this was a big deal for Harry. And so after Harry goes over to the studio and he films this whole scene and it's all done, he goes back over to the headquarters of the new talent program at Columbia Pictures. And as soon as he goes inside, one of the producers that was in charge of this new talent program, who had apparently had a chance already to see this 60-second scene in this movie that Harry was in, he calls Harry over and asks him to go up to his office for a second. And so the pair go up to his office, they both sit down, and the guy looks at him and says, look, I just gotta shoot you straight here. You're not gonna make it in Hollywood. You're not gonna be a movie star. When Tony Curtis was told to carry groceries across this room in one of his first movies, everybody knew right away as he's carrying those groceries that guy, he's going to be a movie star. You could see it in the scene, even though all he was doing was carrying groceries. And when you did your scene as the bellhop walking around the hotel, I just didn't see it. You don't have the X factor. You're not going to be a movie star. For reference, Tony Curtis, the guy this producer was referencing, was a huge movie star in the 1950s and 1960s. And so Harry, after getting this horrible comment made about him, he pauses for a second, and then he leans across the table and looks at this producer and squints his eyes and says, you know, if Tony was such a good actor, shouldn't we have believed he was just a grocery delivery boy, not a movie star? And at this totally smart aleck remark, the producer fired Harry on the spot. Harry would go on to sign a similar new talent program deal with Universal Studios, but again, he could not get a real part to save his life. And the feedback he finally got was, Harry, you're just not pretty enough, and you're not really that talented. By the mid-1970s, Harry was in his mid-30s, and while he still aspired to be an actor and wanted to be an actor, he was making almost no money from acting.
I think Harrison Ford, wasn't he like super good looking and stuff when he was younger? Like, so maybe this isn't Harrison Ford. He said he wasn't that great looking or something, basically. So, someone ugly. Jeez, there's not really a lot of ugly people around in Hollywood, though. I don't know. I'm going to go with Harrison Ford still because I can't think of anything else better.
And so he decided, instead of acting, he was going to become a carpenter. That was going to be his full-time job, despite the fact he knew nothing about carpentry. And so he literally, just because he has this interest in carpentry, goes to the library and checks out all these how to be a carpenter books. And over the next couple of weeks, he studies these books and does a couple projects around his own house. And then finally, he just felt confident enough, or he was just desperate enough for money, that he began going around to his network and asking people in Hollywood if they needed some woodworking, if they needed help from a carpenter. And surprisingly, lots of people took him up on his offer and they hired him to be their carpenter. And before long, Harry was dubbed the carpenter to the stars, which was kind of ironic because he actually was not a very good carpenter, and he was regularly seen on the job, literally holding a book, teaching him how to be a carpenter while doing the carpentry with his other hand.
That's crazy. Imagine that. Yep, I'm here to build your house. Let's see. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just reading up on how to do it before we start. Just on chapter 1, page 1, paragraph 1, line 1, word 1.
1976, Harry was a full-fledged carpenter and had been for about a year when one of his very close friends named Fred Roos, who was a casting director and film producer, gave him a call and told him he had a very unique opportunity for him. Now, at this point, Harry was not looking for any more acting roles. He kind of figured that ship has sailed, even though he wishes he could be an actor. At this point, he had a wife, he had 2 sons, and so he's thinking, I gotta just keep doing this carpentry thing because I gotta pay the bills. So he says to Fred, I appreciate the offer of whatever this is, but if it has to do with acting, I'm just not interested. And Fred, who was one of the very few people in Hollywood who fundamentally believed Harry was destined to be a star, told Harry, no, this is different. This is not a pure go out and try out for the part and hope for the best. This is like, put yourself in a good position and maybe somebody will discover you're as talented as you really are. And so Harry's like, okay, tell me about this opportunity, I'm interested. And so Fred explained there was this really talented and eccentric film director who was trying to cast an upcoming movie. And the way he went about...
It's got to be Harrison Ford, guys. Eccentric filmmaker. Okay, something like, I'm thinking George Lucas, I'm thinking Spielberg, these are like essential to me, I think, and we got to think period correct at this time period kind of thing. Yeah, right? Wouldn't it be someone like those two guys? And I'm pretty sure Harrison Ford did a movie with both of those guys. So, like George Lucas, Star Wars. Harrison Ford was in Star Wars. I know it's hard for people to believe that. And I'm not sure. I thought Steven Spielberg directed Raiders of the Lost Ark, or that whole franchise that Harrison Ford did. I don't know. Let's keep going. We'll find out soon.
Casting for movies was a little bit strange. Instead of having each of the actors and actresses show up and individually audition for their parts, he would group batches of actors and actresses, and he would have them audition as a group, because that way he could tell if there was chemistry amongst some of the actors and actresses, and he could gauge their individual talent. And so he had all these groups already planned out, but one of the groups was missing one male actor. Somebody had dropped out at the last minute and was not going to be there on the day of the audition. And so when Fred Roos heard through the grapevine that this director was going to be short this one person, he immediately reached out to the director and said, hey, I got your guy. There's this guy, Harry. He's done a little bit of acting. He's incredibly talented. You got to give him a chance. At the minimum, he can come in there and he can at least just read the lines and help you do this audition. But I know he's available that day and I know he would love to help. And so this director tells Fred, okay, thank you. I'd love to have him come down, but stress to him, he is not auditioning for any part in this movie. I'm not bringing in some person and just throwing them in. It takes me a long time to find people that I want to audition, and he is not one of them. He is just there to facilitate the audition. He's just going to read the lines so the other people in his group can do their audition.
That's crazy, dude. I don't know if I'd be like, nah, I'm not wasting my time, dude. Like, if I'm already going there and you're already saying, like, I can't read for lines, I'm not going to be able to be in the movie. I'm just there. Like, well, unless you're getting paid, then yeah, I'll go.
And so after Fred stopped explaining this situation, Harry was actually kind of annoyed. He was annoyed that Fred had basically already volunteered him, and so he couldn't really even say no without making Fred look bad. And he didn't like the idea that this was basically a waste of his time.
Right.
He was being asked to go read lines, but not even try out. So how was this even an opportunity?
Exactly.
But Fred told him, look, worst case scenario, you meet some pretty powerful people in Hollywood. This director's a big deal. The people there are going to be big deals in Hollywood. So you'll meet them and maybe they will recognize your talent. Or maybe you get some new clients for your carpentry business. So no matter what, you get something out of it. And so finally, Harry says, okay, fine, I'll go do this thing. And so Harry goes to this audition, he's handed the script, and he's reminded repeatedly to not attempt to audition. Don't try to act, just read the lines. I don't care if you're monotone, you just read these lines because you're not auditioning. Everybody else is, you're not. Is that clear?
That doesn't seem fair. Like, why would you say that? You might as well just let him freaking just do his thing, whilst he's doing his thing for you. Like, I mean, that's kind of a bit over the top.
And Harry's like, yes, I get it. I'm just reading the lines. And so Harry sits down and he starts reading the lines and he's trying to do what they told him to do, but the way he was actually feeling and his actual personality began seeping through. He started coming off as this really grumpy and sarcastic guy that just didn't care about anybody there. He was just totally bitter that he was in the situation he was in. And apparently, this is exactly what the director was looking for in one of the characters he was trying to cast.
Wow.
That kind of nonchalant, bravado,
Dude, that sounds like freaking Star Wars, the freaking character that Harrison Ford played in Star Wars. I've gone blank. What's his name? He was like one of the main guys, and he was a Chewbacca, and what's his name? I've gone blank. Freaking hell. All right. Well, I think I'm right. Can you imagine if I guessed 2 out of 3 correct?
macho alpha type guy who just didn't care about anybody. And so over the course of the day, as he's reading the script over and over
Lando
again,
Calrissian. No, wait.
not caring at all about how he's performing. He's just simply reading these lines and just being himself. He was actually doing this amazing job portraying.
Don't you hate when this, like, it's right on the tip of your tongue and you're like, his name is...
one of the characters. And so they let Harry go the whole day. No one told him they were looking at him as a potential character. And then at the end of the day, when Harry was about to just throw the script in the trash and leave without talking to anyone, the film director, better known as George Lucas,
Did you see what I just did? Okay, well, to be fair, AI did kind of help a little bit. I mean, you know, but I chose to go with Harrison Ford, and wow, dude, like what? That's 2 out of 3. I wouldn't have guessed Liam, because I just wouldn't have never been thinking like he was doing the whole name trick thing, you know, William, but it's Liam, you know. But this one, now that I knew he's kept, you know, caught into his little trick where it doesn't necessarily mean the person's name's Harry. Boom, dude. Come on, you gotta be impressed. Click that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up, because nobody guessing the stuff like me. I'm the ultimate guesser. Like, look at that. Like, come on. How many of you guys thought it was Harrison Ford? Let me know in the comments. Be honest. Be honest. Don't cheat. Be honest. Show me some props. Show respect me. You know what? Nah, I'm gonna be like freaking the tribal chief right now and tell you guys, acknowledge me.
walks up to Harry, better known as Harrison Ford, and says, "Wait a minute, I was wrong. You are perfect for this movie, Star Wars. You need to play Han Solo."
Han Solo! That's his name! Han Solo. Han Solo, that's his name, man. Yeah. I think he's like good looking. Like, why would they say he wasn't good, like didn't have good looks or something? They made him sound like he was very ugly.
Ford said, "All right, I'll play Han Solo." And that role as Han Solo propelled Harrison Ford into the megastar that we know him as today. A few years after Harrison had starred in Star Wars and he was this total A-list celebrity, he was at a Hollywood studio in one of their restaurants when one of the waiters walked over to him with the silver tray, and on this silver tray was a single business card. So Harrison reaches over, he grabs the business card, the waiter walks away, and he looks at the card, and handwritten on it is the phrase, "I missed my bet." And he flipped the card over, and it was the name of that producer from the new talent program that had called Harry into his office and said, "You're never going to make it in Hollywood and you're fired." It was that guy, and he had apparently sent the waiter over to make amends because he was eating lunch in the same restaurant. And so Harry,
more like eating crow. See? Because he, you know, was putting, yeah.
would later say in interviews that at the time he got this card, and to this day that he was doing this interview, he said it gave him immense pleasure that when he looked up from this business card and he understood the situation, he knows this guy's in the room somewhere, as he looked around the room, he couldn't recognize the guy because he didn't know what he looked like. He was a nobody. And so instead of wasting any more time looking for this producer, he just looked at the card, chucked it, and went back to eating his lunch. So that's gonna do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments section what it is and where you found it, so give us the timestamp. And if you're the first to do that, we'll pin you at the top of the comments section. If you got something out of today's episode...
What, there's a secret? What secret? I mean, is he talking about the secrets that I guess, like who the people were? Because I got 2 out of 3. Like, I think I mean, I guess this video is probably... When this video came out June 3rd, 30th. I mean, July 30th, 2021. So he's probably already given out his secret awards. Wow, guys, I am freaking good at this, aren't I? The plot thickens. All right, so I think he doesn't have anything else really to say, so we're going to tell him thank you. Wait, I don't want to be rude. Let's just...
If you haven't done this already, please replace the like button's Shroot Bucks with Stanley Nichols. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 2 or 3 video uploads. We are now selling merchandise like flannels and hats and mugs and sweatshirts and all sorts of stuff.
Go to Shop
If you're
Mr.
interested
Ballin.
in buying official Mr. Ballin merch, go to shopmrballin.com. And to learn about upcoming deals and promotions, check out our shop's Instagram page. The username is shopmrballin. If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram or on Twitter. My username for both platforms is the same. It's John Ballin416.
Let's let him get his plugs,
I also have a ton of content over on TikTok where my username is Mr. Ballin. We also have a second YouTube channel called Mr. Ballin Shorts where we post random short videos and lost episodes. If you have a story suggestion, please submit it to our subreddit just called Mr. Ballin. It's linked in the description below. So whether I see you on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, or some combination, just know that I really appreciate your support. And until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.
All right. Now, I'm going to give you a subscribe, Mr. Ballin, because I appreciate what you just did. That was good. That was real good. I'm even going to click all notifications. I'm showing my support. I'm showing my support because, ladies and gentlemen, what Mr. Ballin did was epic. He took the whole freaking secret and he disguised it in the story based on true facts. So it was actual real story. And then he used the nicknames, hidden names, so the, the secret code word names, so you didn't know who it was until he was ready to reveal it. But yours truly, 2 out of 3 freaking got it. Just like that. Just like that. So, personally, I really enjoyed this video. Now, I didn't know what to expect because I'm like, he had a deplorable set of skills, top 3 celebrity secrets, the title. I had no idea what to expect, And this actually turned out to be a good video. This turned out to be really freaking fun because it's like, now that I realize that I actually am good at guessing these type of things like that, He could do as many of these as he wanted, but didn't throw me off the scent, did it? Nope. I freaking 2 out of 3. That wouldn't be a bad nickname, 2 out of 3. Yo, what's your name? 2 out of 3, yo. But then I guess that means you're a bit of an underachiever because you'll never be 3 out of 3. Ooh, 3 out of 3 would be a better name, wouldn't it? Because you're like perfect. Anyways, I like this video. It was great. Great storytelling. This guy is really good at storytelling. Mr. Ballin, mad respect. I need you guys to show him some love, some respect because, we freaking really appreciate what that was incredible. Go give him a subscribe, a follow. He's got merch. If you want to go and rock one of his Mr. Ballin shirts or whatever, he should make a shirt with like these. That's his thing. I ain't never seen anybody do that many of these in a freaking video before. The air quote thing. Or bunny ears, depending how you look at it. But that was a lot of those in there. Quote unquotes. Anyways, that was a really good video, man. That was really good. Thank you very much, Monroe. That was freaking fantastic, yo. Really liked the way it flowed. And you know what? I'm glad I gave it a go. Now you know. Great show. G.I. Joe. Anyways, guys, I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you want to also consider subscribing to my channel too, since I did do the reaction, I did guess 2 out of 3. I mean, surely that's worth something, I believe, but whatever. And comment and all that too, I think this is fun. Let me know if you want to do more videos like this. Let me know if this is something that you were like, wow, that's just a lot of fun. Wow. And guys, I appreciate all of you guys. And as always, remember to live each moment to the fullest. and to keep it off tap, out.
We gotta get out of here. I'll catch you guys later for another vlog.